Tonight on CTV News, plotting the next move in a seemingly endless trade war.
We have some that believe we should go for dollar tariffs. We have some who want us to roll over and play dead.
Strategizing next steps against an unpredictable opponent. Should Canada take a tougher stance or try a conciliatory course? Also tonight.
Somebody has to be pretty desperate, right?
It was chained to a tree. Yeah, it was kind of an odd situation.
Tied to a tree and left to fend for itself. A Good Samaritan rescues a stranded dog in the haze of a wildfire evacuation. And
for your average frequent flyer, this would dissuade a lot of us from continuing to use Air Canada in the future.
Frequent flyer frustration. The pushback over changes to Air Canada's Aeroplan rewards program.
This is CTV News with Nafisa Kareem.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Mi Jung is off this week. For the first time since U.S. President Donald Trump escalated his trade war by hitting Canada with a new tariff, the Prime Minister met with premiers today to strategize next steps. But some premiers remain at odds over Canada's response. CTV's Rob Buffum has more.
Prime Minister Carney, which counter-tariffs?
Prime Minister Carney arrives to talk tariffs with his cabinet and premiers.
I still stand by what I say, dollar for dollar, tariff for tariff. They understand strength, not weakness.
But not all premiers or provinces are on the same page.
We have some that believe we should go for dollar tariffs. We have some who want us to roll over and play dead.
Saskatchewan's Scott Moe has pushed for removing Canadian counter-tariffs on all U.S. goods. Carney Tuesday said he'd consider removing some if it helped Canada's industry. Ford continues with a full-on elbows-up approach. Meanwhile, BC is seemingly somewhere in between, keeping its U.S. booze ban in place, but not advocating for dollar tariffs.
We do agree that dealing in strength is important, but that strength comes not by yelling at the U.S. government, but from strengthening our economy.
Some say the countrywide resolve has been worn down.
As this has dragged on with no obvious resolution in sight, some of that determination is flagging a bit.
With the August 1st deadline for a deal passed, Ford emerged from today's meeting with a cautious message.
I'm praying that everything's going to go fine. But if it doesn't, I got to ask the people, do you trust President Trump? I don't.
And BC's Jobs Minister, speaking on behalf of the province, expressed support for not rushing into a deal but getting the right one, along with skepticism that one could be reached at all.
I'm not confident that we'll have a deal, and even if we do, I'm not confident that he won't wake up the next morning and have a tweet put out that has new sanctions put on place or new tariffs put in place.
So BC says it continues to focus on generating new and deepening trade partners for its products, while Ottawa tries to reach a deal with our biggest trade partner.
And Rob Buffum joins us live from Victoria. Rob, what did the Premier have to say today about Softwood lumber after yesterday's big announcement from the Prime Minister?
Well, Nafisa, Premier Eby today issued a statement saying that he will be pushing to make sure that BC gets its fair share of that $1.2 billion in support promised by Prime Minister Carney yesterday. It's not yet known when that money will be divided or how it will be divided amongst the provinces, so some uncertainty there. But folks in the sector told me today the fact that the province is pushing for this information perhaps suggests some concern that softwood lumber will not be part of a bigger bilateral deal being negotiated at this point. Nafisa.
Rob, thank you. The U.S. is still feeling the effects of Canadians staying north of the border. New data shows the number of vehicles crossing from BC into Washington state has plummeted, leaving businesses there scrambling to fill the gap. CTV's Craig Krause takes us to Birch Bay, where they appear to have offset the losses for now.
For more than 50 years, Patrick Allisey has owned this candy shop in the small border town of Birch Bay, Washington.
And we operated the candy shop here until COVID hit,
forcing them to adapt and overcome the challenge. But now they're facing a new wave of uncertainty as British Columbians stay north.
Well, I don't blame them.
An intense trade war between the two countries that has soured many Canadians' appetite for American travel, leaving the Allisey family in the crossfire, yet the damage appears to be minimal.
I kind of looked over some of the numbers recently to kind of figure out where we're at. And honestly, the business sales weren't as bad as I thought they were going to be. I mean, we're down by maybe 2% relative to last year for dollars in sales.
One reason could be attracting domestic travelers to fill the Canadian gap.
We're seeing a lot more of what I call U.S. regional business. So Seattle, Portland, and those metros, even east of the Cascades, we are seeing an increase in those visitors.
Calming the storm that other American communities haven't been as fortunate. The latest economic impact research from the World Travel and Tourism Council projects the U.S. is on track to lose $12.5 billion in international tourism spending this year.
Which we're surprised at, because the US is the biggest travel and tourism market in the world.
And just last month here in the Pacific Northwest, data from the Border Policy Research Institute in Bellingham shows that there's been a 30% drop in Canadians crossing the border into Washington state.
If we look back the last 30 years where we saw such a sudden and quick drop.
This is shocking.
Yeah, I mean, shocking, but perhaps not surprising when we think about the current state of affairs.
With all eyes on Washington and Ottawa, Alasey remains optimistic, echoing a passage he once read in Robert B. Reich's book, The Work of Nations, on overcoming problems.
We'll come through this, all of us, stronger. So I hope that's right. It's got to be right.
Craig Crowe, CTV News, Birch Bay.
Now to the latest on BC's wildfire fight. Despite the cooler weather and even some steady rain, it hasn't done much to contain the fires that are burning across the province. Crews are still working diligently with some very close calls happening on the front lines. CTV's Dimitra Maragos has that story.
More than 200 firefighters have boots on the ground working to get a handle on the 5-square-kilometer Wesley Ridge fire. This landmark fire now being called the largest fire threatening homes in Vancouver Island history. Nick Akavati, the Dashwood fire chief, says this fire is virtually unprecedented.
There's been fire conditions on the hill on Friday that we've never seen on the coast before.
And the environmental hurdles?
The winds up here are our biggest enemy.
Haven't made fighting this fire any easier. Akavati says some homes were narrowly saved.
They were at the back door and front door and sides of several properties.
Although outside your window, there may be some rainy relief.
The challenge is it's not enough.
The BC Wildfire Service says there's still great cause for concern.
Over the last 7 days, we have seen significant drying in most of the province.
And compared to years prior,
we're not seeing what we would call a season-ending rain event.
Another hurdle on the horizon, fuel drought.
Fuels are also very dry, and so it takes less heat and it takes less of those crossover days for us to get to a place where fires have high potential to spread.
This past week has been a reminder of how fast our wildfire situation can change.
The forest minister saying not every fire across the province is or will be like the Wesley Ridge fire.
We've been able to contain 85% of the fires this season to 4 hectares or less.
Across the province, the number of fires are down from 1,000 to 850 compared to 2024. But some aren't making fire crews' jobs any easier. Over the weekend, 26 violation tickets for illegal campfires were issued in the Coastal Fire Center.
That's unacceptable. This kind of activity puts people and livelihoods at risk.
The forest minister stressed that it's important for British Columbians to not take a backseat approach this fire season.
It is vital that we take all the necessary steps to remain prepared and that we continue to do our part.
For those who are on the front line like Akavati, he says this experience has been moving.
For my crew and our crew here, it's incredibly humbling that we're a part of saving homes in our community.
Dimitra Maragos, CTV News, Vancouver.
A dog that was found chained to a tree in the Wesley Ridge wildfire evacuation alert zone is now recovering at the Port Alberni SPCA. The pit bull cross was left on a trail near Cameron Lake with no food, water, or identifying information. Janet O'Reilly says she first heard the pup barking on Sunday morning while walking her 2 dogs in the area. She went to rescue it hours later after learning her neighbor saw the chained up animal on his own dog walk. Meanwhile, experts are weighing in following a series of AI-generated photos of wildfires being shared online. The concern is this rise in misinformation will only get worse during emergencies. And as CTV's Isabella Zavarisi reports, BC isn't alone when it comes to facing this problem.
Captivating images of wildfires. The photos so realistic that those in charge of wildfire management are worried they could impact how people respond to natural disasters.
People might make decisions based on those images, or be more fearful because of those images, or not take our warning seriously.
The photos are generated by artificial intelligence. The BC Wildfire Service says it noticed them in the last few weeks on Facebook during the peak of the wildfire season.
Wildfires are already, or can be, a really scary time for people. There can be a lot of anxiety around that. People can be unsure about what to do or what's happening. So anytime that we see potentially adding more fear or anxiety when it's not needed, we're concerned about that.
This is an AI image of the Drought Hill wildfire in Peachland. Here's what it actually looks like.
Often the images that we've seen are making the fires that they're purporting to be about look way worse than they are in reality.
In January, as wildfires tore through Los Angeles, AI images of the iconic Hollywood sign engulfed in flames were shared online.
You know, it's irresponsible for people to put out these types of images. You can be costing people's lives because of putting out fake news like that.
One UBC scientist says he worries AI will be misused.
I predict that, it's only going to become harder from here. That the use of these technologies will become much more pervasive because it's becoming accessible and the models are only getting better. And I think the awareness and the education around these should really be happening right now.
So the message that I have to British Columbians is please be cautious of where you get your information. Be aware of AI-generated content.
The province is urging people to turn to trusted sources of information instead, such as local media, governments, and First Nations. Isabella Zavarisi, CTV News, Vancouver.
Vancouver police are urging anyone who may have information about a fatal stabbing in the Granville Entertainment District 2 years ago to come forward.
We understand for various reasons people choose not to come forward. 2 years has gone by. This is somebody's son. This is somebody's partner. We need you to do the right thing and come forward and share the information.
Police say the investigation into the death of 32-year-old Jose Kazi remains very active and that any small piece of information could push the case forward. They are looking to speak with anyone who was on Granville Street between Smythe and Nelson around 3 a.m. on August 4th, 2023. An investigation is underway after a stabbing in New Westminster's Queensborough neighborhood. Police were called after a fight broke out at a bus stop on Ewan Avenue near Lawrence Street around midnight August 1st. Officers arrived to find a man who appeared to have been stabbed. He was taken to hospital. No arrests have been made, but police say this was an isolated incident. Imagine taking a passenger train from the North Shore up the Sea to Sky corridor. Well, that dream is resurfacing after CN Rail announced that after a roughly 20-year run, it will end operations on its leased corridor from Squamish to 100 Mile House. Some local politicians and transit advocates say that clears the tracks for a passenger route. Here's CTV's Ben Nesbitt.
2 decades after the BC government leased out a chunk of the province's rail network through the Sea to Sky corridor, it appears there may be an opening for a service some feel is much needed in the region.
Reinstating rail service is a fantastic opportunity.
Last month, CN Rail announced it was discontinuing operations from Squamish to 100 Mile House. Transit advocate Michelle Scarr says a passenger rail service would be the perfect replacement.
It would help address the cost of living crisis, providing an affordable option. So private vehicles cost an average of $10,000 a year, which isn't cheap.
Prior to CN's lease, there was a passenger service operated by BC Rail, but officials called it a money loser at the time. But West Vancouver's Sea to Sky MLA Jeremy Valeriot highlights the sizable population growth in the region since then.
There is starting to be more and more congestion on the Sea to Sky Highway. It's reaching capacity. There's safety issues. There's often crashes that will close the highway for hours at a time, so it gives an alternative.
Last year, the BC NDP said it would prioritize more transit along the Sea to Sky when a cooperation agreement was signed with the BC Greens. The Ministry of Transportation and Transit told CTV News Wednesday it plans to review CN's decision before considering its options, and that it's been holding discussions with local partners, including local governments and First Nations, regarding working towards passenger service on the Sea to Sky corridor. Valeriot says he's spoken to the Premier about it.
I think they see it as an opportunity as well. It's all a matter of dollars and cents.
Ben Nesbitt, CTV News, Vancouver.
Call it a salmon surprise. The number of sockeye returning to the Fraser River this summer has far exceeded estimates. The abundance means some First Nations have been allowed to harvest for food, social and ceremonial purposes. CTV's Ben Milger reports commercial fishers hope they too will get a chance to reel in some sockeye.
Sockeye salmon have sustained Indigenous people for thousands of years. In recent decades, the abundance has not been what it once was.
I would have 20 cases of sockeye for the winter. I'd have 40 or 50 sockeye in the deep freeze. And now I'm lucky if I make a case of fish last 2 years because it's so rare to get.
So far, close to 750,000 have already been counted swimming upstream past Mission, 10 times what was expected.
Crazy. Oh, beautiful sockeye.
Some BC First Nations now have the green light to harvest for food, social and ceremonial purposes. The fish will be distributed to their members who will smoke or can most of it.
Strengthen the family ties and work collectively on fish. It is a lot of fun. It's great. It's hard work, but it's a lot of fun, and it strengthens our communities and our nations.
Commercial operators would also like a chance to catch Fraser River sockeye for the first time in 6 years.
We've had record test fishing for July since records were kept on test fishing.
6 million sockeye are now expected to return, and that number could go up. But commercial operators don't think they'll be allowed to land any of them. Why aren't you more optimistic that commercial fishers might get a chance?
Well, unfortunately, they're still managing under a low run scenario that they modeled in the wintertime.
According to the Watershed Watch Salmon Society, despite the incredible numbers, sockeye returning to spawn face an uncertain fate thanks to low river levels and high water temperatures.
There's estimates now this year that somewhere between 30 and 50% of the returning fish could die en route to their spawning grounds.
The Pacific Salmon Commission and the Department of Fisheries and Oceans will have to consider all of those factors before deciding whether to launch this fleet of commercial boats. Ben Milger, CTV News, Steveston.
Still ahead, the blue and white now have a World Cup winner on the roster.
That's beautiful. Whitecaps, let's make history.
From Munich to Vancouver, a German soccer legend is officially a Whitecap. We'll have more on the team's biggest ever player signing. But first, from soccer to hockey, single-game seats are now available for Canucks games. The prices seem pretty steep given last year's less-than-stellar season. What fans can expect to shell out, a CTV News at 6 continues. Are safe after a highly complex rescue from a granite summit near the Coquihalla Highway. Search and rescue crews were called to Yak Peak between Hope and Merritt late last night after one of the climbers got a head injury. But rapidly deteriorating weather and wildfire smoke made it too dangerous for them to get a helicopter anywhere near. A new flight crew tried again this morning, and they were able to hoist those climbers to safety. Canucks single-game tickets for the upcoming season went on sale today, and it probably won't surprise you to hear that prices have gone up again. While fans may not understand how the team can charge more after the disastrous season they just had, the team does have an explanation. CTV's Shannon Patterson reports.
A dispiriting effort and a lopsided loss to the Seattle Kraken.
Fans
Fans were understandably displeased with the Canucks' home record last season, but missing the playoffs didn't stop the team from raising ticket prices at Rogers Arena for the upcoming season.
These prices are really pricing out a family to be able to go to a game.
Single game tickets went on sale Wednesday for fans who signed up for priority access. Highly coveted games like the Montreal Canadiens or the Toronto Maple Leafs start at $250. The home opener against Calgary starts at $155. The cheapest tickets are midweek games against opponents like Anaheim or Buffalo, but even they are just over $100 each.
They're playing it the way that they want to play it, maximize the return as much as they can, and unfortunately, who gets hurt is the fan.
Well, I understand the frustration. I don't like to pay more for anything either. None of us do.
The Canucks say the higher prices reflect a $7 million jump in the NHL salary cap.
Part of that is not just about the hockey team with the cap going up. That is part of it. But another part of it is the building that we have, is investing money back into an older building.
This summer, the Canucks are replacing all the seats at Rogers Arena. The new ones will have higher backrests and cup holders, but fans can't enjoy them if they can't afford to get in the door.
Some fans will, a lot won't, and we're probably going to see a last-minute price drops.
While that could happen with the Canucks' dynamic pricing model, this ticket broker is skeptical the drops will be substantial.
That dynamic pricing is a misnomer. A dynamic pricing means there's no ceiling and there's no floor. But obviously there's a floor, even for the worst games on a Tuesday night in February when nobody wants to go. That should be a $20 ticket, but still you're looking at $80.
If you buy now, there's nothing under $100. Fans have to hope the results on the ice will be worth the hit on their wallet. Shannon Patterson, CTV News, Vancouver.
The Vancouver Whitecaps have pulled off the biggest signing in club history, landing German soccer star Thomas Müller.
Dear Whitecaps supporters, I'm very excited to come to Vancouver. Let's do something special together. Let's go.
The club announced the move today with a video showing a Whitecaps jersey being delivered to the former Bayern Munich star in Germany. Müller has signed for the remainder of the 2025 season, and the agreement includes a designated player option for 2026. The 35-year-old helped Germany win the World Cup in 2014, and he scored 250 goals for Bayern, helping the team to win 13 league championships. But his contract was not renewed after last season. He's the latest international star to make the jump to MLS after Lionel Messi joined Inter Miami in 2023. Stephanie, the next Whitecaps home game, August 17th. I'm hoping the roof will be open. It is not a gray and dreary day like it was today.
You're at every game.
It's true.
By then, I'm sure the roof will be open, but not tonight, not tonight. We needed this pattern change. We got some rain, which was much needed. We're still expecting some rain through the overnight. Here's a look at the almanac. Definitely a cooler day overall, and that record dates back way back to 1942. So here's a look at what we're looking at through the overnight tonight. We're expecting some showers, a risk of thunderstorms taking us into the morning hours. It'll be early, mostly cloudy for your day. It'll be late in the day when we're going to start to see that sunshine reappear with a high of only 21 degrees tomorrow.
CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises. Make the most of your next vacation by booking with those who've been there. Visit expediacruises.ca.
So we do have a ridge building once we get into the weekend. Temperatures are going to be very hot. I've got those full details coming right up.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Stephanie. Coming up, a little red flag that's leading to some big complaints for Canada Post. Plus,
we're not paid anytime the aircraft is not in motion.
How a vote to strike by Air Canada flight attendants could ground your summer travel plans as CTV News at 6 continues. We'll be right back. Unionized BC Ferries workers have started a new campaign pushing for new vessels to be built in Canada. The campaign is called Build Them Here and urges people to make that demand to their MPs and MLAs. In June, BC Ferries announced that 4 new ships would be built in China using a $1 billion federal loan. The union wants that contract scrapped.
We believe we have the skills and the yards in Canada to do this work, and that's an economic benefit to Canadians. That's money going into tax base, that's money going into education. That isn't going to happen because that's going to go to the People's Republic of China.
We've run an open, competitive international procurement process, and we would have liked to
been able to consider Canadian shipyards for these ships, but unfortunately, even with us adjusting some of the criteria to enable them to qualify, they didn't choose to apply.
No Canadian companies bid on the contract, but in a statement, North Vancouver-based C-SPAN indicated it is hopeful of exploring the possibility of building future BC Ferries vessels. A warning to travelers flying with Air Canada this summer. Flight attendants with the country's largest carrier voted overwhelmingly in favor of strike action, which could happen as early as August 16th. But there is still hope a deal could be reached. The union representing Air Canada's 10,000 flight attendants is heading back to the bargaining table later this week. The vote to strike passed with 99.7% support over issues that have been festering for more than a decade. The union is demanding better wages and working conditions, saying flight attendants average 35 hours of unpaid work each month. The workers are getting support from the Conservatives, who are urging the government to amend the labor code.
We're not paid anytime the aircraft is not in motion. So any of the pre-flight checks, mandatory safety briefings, all the required stuff that is done on the ground prior to pushback, as well as the deplaning process.
Air Canada says it is determined to reach a fair and equitable contract with its flight attendants. Both sides will return to the bargaining table on Friday, but if talks break down, travel plans for thousands could soon be grounded. Some rural communities are taking issue with a recent change by Canada Post. The iconic red flag that goes up and down when there's mail inside the box is apparently no longer part of the carrier's job description. Canada Post says the flag is not meant to inform customers that they have mail, but to let the carrier know there is outgoing mail to collect. Many rural residents only check their box when they see the flag and say the sudden change doesn't make sense.
And it seems a little bit odd that, given it a time when Canada Post is struggling to survive and wanting large raises and wanting to gain more of the market share, that they're going to offer less service and less convenience to the public when they deliver their mail.
This all comes less than a week after unionized Canada Post workers rejected their employer's latest and final offer. Still ahead, he's known for stopping pucks, and now he wants to stop cancer.
So it's a no-brainer for me to jump on board and do what I can.
Why a Vancouver hockey legend is joining forces with his wife to help raise money for cancer treatments. A moment of silence was held in Hiroshima today as part of a memorial marking the 80th anniversary of the atomic bombing in the Japanese city. Attendees remembering those who died when the United States dropped a nuclear bomb in 1945. 3 days later, in the nearby city Nagasaki, a second atomic bomb was dropped. The bombs killed more than 200,000 people. A hockey legend well known to Canucks fans has joined forces with his wife to help raise money for cancer treatment. Kirk and Genevieve McLean have both been affected by the disease and hope the campaign will not only lead to improved care, but let people know cancer can be beaten. CTV's St. John Alexander has the story.
Living in Vancouver and approaching their 5th wedding anniversary, Kirk McLean and his wife Genevieve are very active members of the community. She is embarking on an ambitious cancer fundraiser and told her husband he's going to help out.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's dear to my heart.
Great save! Of course, he is well known in the city and with good reason.
Unbelievable save by Kirk McLean.
And the Vancouver Canucks Ring of Honor member also does a lot of charity work and knows the importance of cancer research. Both of his parents died from the disease only 6 months apart. They were in their 60s.
You know, I can remember after my dad passed, he went second. I just looked at my sister and I said, we're orphans now.
And so they are both part of the Greater Than Cancer campaign, a huge effort to raise $35 million for UBC and Vancouver General Hospital to ensure more care and more research.
All around the province, if you have cancer, you will go through VGH in pathology or somewhere.
And she would know she's a survivor. Genevieve has beaten cancer 3 times, first treated at Children's Hospital when she was 15, and says thanks to money, Thanks to research, treatment has come a long way.
When you walked in when I was younger and there's a 30% chance, those cancers are now in the 90s. So it's not death. And that's the first thing that people thought about. If this was me 40 years ago, I wouldn't be sitting here.
This obviously hits home with my parents and Genevieve, what she's gone through, and her family members as well. So it's a no-brainer for me to jump on board and do what I can.
Early detection, of course, is key, and McLean insisted he is screened on a regular basis.
For the men, get out there and get checked for whatever it may be, prostate, anything. Don't be the He-Man.
And the couple points out, even though there may not be a cure for a certain type of cancer, there may be medication that allows someone to live with it.
And that medication is because of research, and that research is because of money.
St. Alexander, CTV News, Vancouver.
Well, there's a lot of excitement at a zoo in the Czech Republic after the arrival of some very special new additions. 4 Barbary lion cubs have been born. That's a subspecies that's extinct in the wild. The 3 females and 1 male are spending most of their time with their mother and father right now, but the family will be broken up soon. The zoo is part of an international endangered species program, so that means the cubs will be sent to other participating parks. Experts say the births of these young cats is a crucial contribution for a small surviving population of the rare lion. Fewer than 200 are estimated to live in captivity today. Well, as if the potential for a strike isn't enough to frustrate travelers, Air Canada has announced changes to its loyalty program.
I would tell Air Canada that I think this change is very short-sighted.
Aeroplan is changing the way members earn points, and coming up, we'll break down the changes and show you why the move isn't going over well with everyone. Taking a look at today's markets, the Canadian dollar up slightly to 72.75 cents U.S. Oil lost 81 cents, closing at $64.35 U.S. a barrel. Gold was down more than $1 on the day. TSX and the Dow Jones both ended the day higher, up by 350 points and 81 points, respectively. A well-known accessories and cosmetics retailer will be filing for bankruptcy protection in Canada. The CEO of Claire's says the move is being made because of increased competition, consumer spending trends, and the ongoing shift away from bricks and mortar stores. The company has already filed for bankruptcy protection in the U.S. Claire's locations in North America will remain open during a process it says will help monetize its assets and allow it to explore strategic alternatives for the business. A whale-watching company in Nova Scotia took some lucky passengers on a tour they'll never forget. The company shared this video online saying that the once-in-a-lifetime triple breach was performed by humpback whales named Kalimba, Little Spot, and Badge. But the show didn't stop there. After performing that spectacular triple breach, Kalimba started tail lobbing. Everyone on the boat definitely got their money's worth that day. I'll put that on the bucket list.
Seriously, that was incredible. Triple breach. Wow. Oh, wow. So we didn't get a washout today, which was nice. A lot of rain last night. We are still seeing that chance of showers tonight. Here's a look outside. Overcast with that risk of showers still there. We do have severe thunderstorm warning in place right now for the Sunshine Coast. It's just been dropped there for the Caribou South, but we still have a watch in place for Prince George and the Caribou. So we're still tracking thunderstorm activity through the overnight tonight. Wildfire smoke, as you can see, impacting inland sections of Vancouver Island as well as between Nanoose Bay and Fanny Bay. And we also have Stewart and Chaco region under some air quality statements. So still, this is through the overnight. We're still expecting showers. We're still expecting that risk of thunderstorm activity. Actually, heavy rain expected for Squamish and Whistler tonight and parts of the Sunshine Coast. So by Friday, we're back in the clear. Tomorrow afternoon will be dry again, but this rain has certainly helped the situation. We have more green on the map than we've seen in a long time. time. So the ridge is going to build here. We're going to start to see our temperatures really begin to skyrocket well above seasonal as we head into the weekend and next week. So don't worry, summer's not over yet, but this rain has certainly helped somewhat. And we are looking at mostly cloudy skies for Port Hardy at 17, mostly sunny at 22 for that eastern, northeastern section of Vancouver Island. It is going to be mostly overcast. Victoria, mostly sunshine at 20 degrees. Still a cooler day on deck tomorrow, 22 for the Sunshine Coast. Squamish, chance of showers in through the afternoon hours. Whistler, we have that risk of thunderstorm activity in through the afternoon. And then for us here, it's really early morning that we might hear or see some thunder and lightning. So it's early morning event, showers through the overnight tonight. By tomorrow afternoon, it'll be mostly cloudy, and then about 4 o'clock, we'll start to see more sunshine and then really drying out and heating up as we head into the next several days.
Wow, look at that 7-day. Just sun, sun, sun as far as the eye can see.
Over 30 degrees inland, too.
Yeah, we just have to get through tomorrow first.
We sure do.
Thanks, Stephanie. Well, there are about 5 million Aeroplan members in Canada, and if you're one of them, you should know changes are coming to how you earn rewards. Aeroplan announced starting in the new year, members will earn points based on dollars spent rather than distance flown. CTV's Pat Foran has more.
Starting on January 1st, Aeroplan will overhaul the way its members earn points, and the biggest change means you'll earn based on how much you spend instead of how far you go. Phil McCulley is a frequent flyer and has been an Aeroplan member for the past 20 years. He's concerned business travelers buying more expensive tickets will see the greatest benefits.
But it absolutely benefits people who travel on the max fare class. So people who fly business everywhere are disproportionately benefiting from this program than people who travel, let's say, like a lower fare class.
The majority of our members are going to be better off than they were before.
Air Canada says the changes to the loyalty program will benefit those who engage with the airline and its partners the most. Starting in the new year, you'll earn 1 Aeroplan point per dollar spent. In 2 examples on Air Canada's website, it states if you book a flight between Toronto and Montreal with a base fare of $427, you'll earn 427 Aeroplan points. In another example, if you booked a round trip from Montreal to Paris and the base fare is $1,500, under the current plan you would receive almost 7,000 points, but under the new plan you'll receive 1,500 Aeroplan points. The more you pay, the more points you'll get.
It can't be seen as a positive, but it can't be seen as negative either. It really comes down to the individual, whether these changes are good for you or not.
Rewards Canada, a website that studies loyalty programs, says those who pay more for expensive flights will achieve elite status faster and rack up more points than those who are searching for bargains.
The more you spend with the airline, the more you're going to be rewarded, whether it's elite status or with points earning as well.
The changes are also more in line with other airlines that have also moved to revenue-based models. Pat Foran, CTV News.
Canadian Victoria Mboko in a semi-final showdown. How the teen tennis sensation fared in the biggest match of her young career. That's still ahead. Plus, Mr. Tennis. Adam meets a Maple Ridge woman who's discovering how her humble grandfather had an accomplished career. That's on the Sawatsky sign-off. Right now, here's a preview of CTV Morning Live.
It's a trip south to deepen ties, but what does Canada hope to achieve? Thursday on CTV Morning Live, what federal ministers in Mexico are working on as they struggle to find footing with the U.S. Also, Alberta may be calling, but BC doesn't want you to answer. The campaign is aiming to keep people from leaving BC. And we'll tell you what's new at Kids Fest this weekend, including where you can watch Olympic gold breaking champion Phil Wizard. We'll see you in the morning.
News, weather, and traffic. It's everything you need. CTV Morning Live, weekdays 6 to 9.
Another streaming milestone for Taylor Swift, whose hit Cruel Summer has just passed 3 billion streams on Spotify. The song was from her 2019 album Lover, but wasn't released as a single until 2023. If you're wondering, The Weeknd's Blinding Lights is still Spotify's most streamed song ever, with nearly 5 billion. Victoria Mboka's remarkable run at the National Bank Open will continue all the way to the final. Wow, after nearly 3 hours on court, Mboko rallied to win the third set in a tie-break in front of a raucous crowd in Montreal. The 18-year-old joins Bianca Andreescu as the second Canadian woman to advance to the final of the Canadian Open in 55 years. Mboko will now play in Thursday's final at 2:30 p.m. Pacific. Today marks 6 months until the 2026 Winter Olympics in Italy. The opening ceremony of the Milan Cortina Games will be held at the San Siro Stadium on February 6th. These are the first Olympics to fully embrace cost-cutting reforms implemented by IOC President Thomas Bach and use mostly existing venues, which has meant scattering the games all over northern Italy. The torch relay will begin on November 26th in Greece. A 12-year-old boy got to live out his dream day with his favorite football team. Jace Garland took the handoff from Carolina Panthers quarterback Bryce Young and scored a touchdown in an intra-squad game this weekend. The North Carolina boy was diagnosed with a form of bone cancer last year. The team was happy to take him in, giving him a tour of the locker room and even signing him to a one-day contract. You know, the smaller players, they can move around on the field really easily. They can score those touchdowns. So good on you, Jace.
Yes.
What a dream come true.
We have something that I'm not sure you guys would try. Oh, wait till I read it first. Heinz is blending boundaries with a new ketchup smoothie.
Definitely not.
The first of its kind drink is made out of acai sorbet, apple juice, strawberries, raspberries, and of course, Heinz ketchup. It will be available for a limited time at Smoothie King locations in the States. Heinz says the new smoothie should help settle the cultural debate over whether a tomato being a fruit helps make ketchup a smoothie. Who's debating this? I'm not. Are you?
The first part of the smoothie sounded good, and then we hit ketchup, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, it's a no for me. How about you?
You know what? I'd try anything once.
Try anything once?
Yes.
I tried the ketchup popsicle.
I mean, there's so much
It wasn't
sugar
bad.
in ketchup that probably wouldn't even be able to tell. Yeah.
All right, Yasmin, what do you have coming up for our 11:30 broadcast?
Well, Surrey has become the first city in North America to provide free sports equipment year-round. We'll have the details on that tonight. Plus, we'll continue to follow BC Ferry's new campaign to get ships built here in Canada instead of China, with the union urging British Columbians to speak up.
All right, sounds good, Yasmin. Thank you. Well, sticking with the tennis theme finally tonight, Adam serves up a heartwarming story of a Maple Ridge woman who's uncovering how her late grandfather went from stringing rackets to earning the title Mr. Tennis on tonight's Sawatsky sign-off.
Like I say, this is only one wall. There's another wall going down this way.
When young Karen Redquich posed for this photo in her Grandpa Stan's workshop, she was likely looking forward to sharing milk and cookies or watching football with him, rather than looking up at the pictures that surrounded her.
I didn't really appreciate what he did. It was just, he was my grandpa. He strung tennis rackets. It's like, not a big deal, right?
While Karen was far more interested in hearing stories about him serving overseas during the Second World War, Grandpa Stan never really talked about how he earned a different name than was on his work tag.
He was used in advertisements for the Bay as Mr. Tennis.
Stan Rhodes had started turning a skill he learned before the war into an art form.
That became his life, like stringing tennis rackets.
His craftsmanship eventually captured the attention of the best players across Canada and around the world.
Billie Jean King, Bobby Briggs.
Who showed their appreciation by posing for pictures and handwriting thank you notes.
Boy, he had some career.
When his bosses at the Bay weren't buying full-page ads to tout Mr. Tennis, they were setting Stan up in display windows to demonstrate his skills, which, according to this article, attracted crowds so large the street was blocked.
He kept all this stuff, but it wasn't like he bragged about it. You think he would, but he was very humble.
And like he spent 50 years supporting greatness on the court, Stan encouraged his family back home.
I had some bowling trophies, and he set this little thing up.
And after Stan took this picture of his granddaughter, he hung it alongside the photos of the famous.
That was pretty special of him to honor me amongst his other treasured photos.
Stan died died when Karen was 14. While she never got a chance to know enough to say how proud she was of him then, she's hoping by sharing his story, she can show him now.
Without these people and their accomplishments and their hard work and their knowledge, we wouldn't be the people who we are today.
And through honoring our past, Karen has learned we can appreciate our present more fully and move into the future with gratitude.
Thank you, Mr. Tennis.
Thank you, Grandpa.
Thank you, Grandpa, yeah.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Maple Ridge.
All right, let's stick with the tennis theme. What are you serving up in this scenic snapshot tonight?
A picture-perfect snug cove. Thank you to David Choi for sending that. If you'd like to send us your photos, email scenicsnapshot@ctv.ca.
All right, make sure you stick around for CTV News at 11:30 with Yasmin. You can get news online anytime at ctvnewsvancouver.ca. Good night.
Good night.